Welcome back to your November new moon meditation. Pick a card. Now, this is your moment to really settle down into your body, get in tune with your intuition, your guiding system. Taking a couple of deep breaths in here. Closing your eyes. And when you're ready, take a look at the three decks, the three piles that are in front of you. This is group 1. This is group 2. And this is group 3. Gaze at them and see which one attracts you the most. See which one calls out to you. See what kind of energetic pull one of these three decks have. If you have more than one, there might be more messages in it for you. Just remember that you are the creator of your reality. These messages are timeless. If you're watching this at another time frame, it's probably because there's a message in here for you. These are general readings, so not everything might be a message for you at this moment. And let's begin. Hello, you incredible souls. Welcome back to your bi-weekly tarot pick a card reading by yours truly, Katerina Lukin. First, I want to say happy Dia del Muerto to absolutely everybody that is taking a moment to remember their loved ones. We just did this yesterday, hence the beautiful flowers. And yeah, let's take a moment and just recognize all the people that have been around us, being grateful for their existence, especially during Scorpio season. The whole death and rebirth kind of falls perfectly into play. So I'm recording this on November 5th, and these are good for the next 2 weeks. As always, I have the archetype of your next 2 weeks. What do we need to know, and where is it all going? You each have like an extra card. I was trying to shuffle for 3 cards, and it ended up being 4 cards for each. So I just went with it. So I guess I'm just sensing here that there's a lot of people going through a lot of stuff. I know I have. It has been very heavy the last week and a half, I have to say. One of the heaviest I've had. When you have the right tools, it gets lighter and lighter. So, is there anything else that I need to say? Let's just start. Start. So, just remember these are general readings, only take what resonates. And I took the archetype slightly different. I took an oracle deck, Colette Baron reads Wisdom of the Oracle, to identify your archetype, and you have cleaned it up. So this tells me that you've been procrastinating. You've been procrastinating for a very long time to just, or do a huge menage, clean out everything that's been going on in and outside of your home, maybe your body, and you've just been avoiding it. You've been like procrastinating like crazy. Clean it up is a great card to have when you want new things coming in. If you want to manifest new stuff, if you feel like you've been stuck somehow, or feel like you're not moving forward, you see everybody in your surroundings and they're just like going head on, and you're just like, but what about me? A lot of the times it's because there's a lot of mental turmoil that's just keeping you stuck, energetically speaking. And we have to remember that objects actually have a frequency. Every object has a magnetic field. And if we're cluttered, I remember very clearly how my room used to be completely cluttered. I wouldn't clean it. And this actually cause a lot of mental stress for me. At the time, I didn't understand and I didn't even know anything that I know right now, but I felt a drag. And as soon as I started really becoming more disciplined with at least my room and my the place that I slept in, I felt a huge shift. Because when you declutter and you clear space, you allow energy to just come in and out freely. So there's an even exchange and there's almost like a purification and cleansing of some sort because there's enough room for energy to flow in and out. Right now, I feel like you're stuck because right now you feel stuck because there's too much things around you, or you're putting too much on your plate and you're not able to create proper boundaries. Also, this is the energetic aspect of it as well. If somebody keeps asking to do and you don't know how to say stop, you start getting overwhelmed, and this is just an energetic pressure and weight on your shoulders. For some of you, you're kind of getting out of that turmoil. It isn't reversed, but for most of you, you've been procrastinating and you have a hard time saying no. And the next few weeks, for you've been doing the whole manifesting game and you just haven't seen anything manifest. And a big part of it is because you need to clear out the old. You probably have clothes that you never wear that are still in your wardrobe. You probably have 10, 12 scarves, but you only really use 2 or 3 of them. So the other ones are just stagnant energy. They're just filling up space where new stuff could come in, or just new flow. And the flow of energy could be a mindset, could be a perspective, could be and that's another thing I want to touch into. Some of you are trying to manifest and bring in more quality products. Could be more quality people, quality clothing, quality accessories. Like, you're kind of done and over with the whole, oh, more is more. You're kind of seeing this whole less is more perspective. But to do that, you really need to get into that vibration. So when you are, well, first clean out whatever you're not wearing, whatever you don't believe you will be ever wearing again. And that doesn't mean you have to get rid of everything you own, but the stuff that you know that you're never going to wear in the next month or 2 months or 3 months is just picking up dust. And this dust is not allowing just new flowing energy in. I would really take an inventory and just stop procrastinating and really go and get rid of anything that does not spark you joy, right? Like that famous organizing woman, I forget her name, Monaco, super popular on Netflix. She had the exact perspective of someone who wants to invite new energy and to respect and feel grateful for the things they have. Once you see and you've kind of decluttered, you start appreciating the stuff you do have. Sometimes when you have less, you have no choice but to change that perspective. So for you, for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be so important to clear out space, but to also clear up the mental gunk and the energetic gunk. Create those boundaries that you need to create. Say no. If you say no and somebody's angry at you, that's on them. That is not on you. You don't owe anybody anything. This is something that I keep saying. You don't owe anybody anything. Your mental health, emotional health is and should always be on the top of your list, because everything else underneath that, meaning if you give more than you could handle, everything else and everybody else underneath that will pay the consequences, including you. Yeah, the main focus here, I'm not even surprised this is coming up in this season, because this is really the time to clean up. This is hermit season where you go within, you make inventory, you see what doesn't work, you see the people who just don't spark joy and don't lift you up, and it's time to just clean it up. And not, it might not be forever, but it might be for a period of time where you could just gain the energy that you need, gain the mindset that you need, and that's it. If you have people, I feel like for some of you, you have people that are living in your home set and they just don't want to leave. Give them that date. If you, not a question of pressuring people, but you give them a date, people are gonna figure their shit out. They're gonna figure it out. We're human beings, and we are not meant to stay stagnant for too long of a period of time. We are beings of movement, but more importantly of finding solutions. It's time to be like, listen, by this day you need to go. And that doesn't mean you're leaving them hanging. You're giving them a time frame to actually come up with something. And they're human, and they'll figure it out. Because sometimes when you cater too much to someone, you're catering too much to someone, you actually hinder them, and you actually, what's the word I'm looking for? You're actually sabotaging them in the long run, because now they're becoming codependent and dependent on something within that home. Is that what I mean? Okay, basically just to finish up, because it cut before I did, you allowing these people to stay for an undetermined time could sabotage them in the long run, in the sense of that they're not working their, how can I say, their survival skills anymore. And this is an instinct that we have to find solutions. Obviously, that doesn't mean that you have to kick them out and be like, well, too bad, so sad. It doesn't mean you can't still help them. But by giving them a time frame, you kind of push them to really find a solution for themselves and faster. You understand what I mean? So where this is all going is really, really interesting, because you have the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Nine of Wands, you have the Devil, and then you have Judgment card. I'm really getting the vibe here that you're someone that's really been working on their manifestation game. Like, you've been working, and you're still working. This is the apprenticeship card, right? It's working on your craft to keep going, and that you're gonna have some delays, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's, you're just kind of bypassing, and you're reprogramming, and the only thing that's gonna stop you is you. That's what I'm sensing here. The only thing that's going to stop you from advancing is yourself. The Nine of Wands is usually like that man in a battle position, waiting for that final countdown, that final battle that's just gonna bring you to kind of like those goals that you've been seeking. And this is usually an external force, but I'm really seeing it like you're the only thing stopping yourself. Why do I say that? Because you're working on your craft, and it feels like you're fighting yourself. It's like there's almost like just two parallel universes for you. You have this like victimizing phase. It's like, oh my God, why always me? Why is this always happening? But then because you've been working on yourself, you're like, well, you know, you're asking those tough questions. How did I contribute to this situation? How could I effectively remove myself so this doesn't happen again? Or how can I just pay attention to my emotions? How could I just listen to them and just feel them out? Because there's nothing wrong with this victimizing states. Remember, there's nothing right or wrong about anything in this world. It's our perspective of it. So it's just a question of listening, like you would a child, you know. Listen intensely and like with full-on presence to what's going on with you. I feel like that's the best way for you to actually handle this kind of polarity that's going on. This like, oh, why always me? And this is never going to work. This is never going to happen. Kind of attitude and perspective versus this like compassionate, empathetic, and be like, you know what? I'm feeling this. Let me feel it out. Let the emotions ride and go. And then I can ask myself these important questions. Then I can really dive deep and ask and be present enough to actually hear the real solutions and or the real problem to find these solutions, right? We always want to go towards a solution oriented. Problems are never problems. You don't have a problem without a solution. That's the way I see it. Or at least that's what I'm trying to see. I'm working on my reprogramming too. And another reason why I think it's your own doing is because you have the devil right next to it. And the devil is really, again, your internal turmoil. And the devil is a major arcana, meaning that this is something that's been going for such a long time. And for you to expect that things are just going to change overnight is like asking a train to break its brakes as it's going 200 kilometers per hour. It's going to lag. It's going to skid. It's going to take time before those brakes actually do its job. Your job right now is just to be present and just be understanding and just to be loving with yourself and kind to yourself and just loving yourself enough to be like, you know what? I was like this and this is stuff that did happen. And yes, it might not be right, but you know what? I am the creator. I am taking back my power. I am going to own my sovereignty and not let other situations control my behaviors, control my actions, control me. Because ultimately, if somebody's able to trigger those little triggers, they ultimately control you. I mean, we see it all the time with the news, and we see it with commercials. Commercials go deep into the soul, right where the emotion is, to create this emotional attachment or emotional reaction to or believe their story, buy their product, do the things they're asking you to do. These are all control tactics, and companies are paying billions of dollars for these marketing tools. It's not an unknown territory. We all know it exists. We do it all the time. I'm sure you as a parent or you as a friend have used your words and have used people's emotions in your benefits once in a blue moon. And there's nothing wrong with that, but to be conscious that things like that actually do have power, and to be conscious enough to be like, you know what? I am not gonna let this take over me. I will not allow those peoples or this thing or this situation control my reaction, because as soon as you start responding instead of reacting, you have won. You have tricked the devil. The devil cannot trick you anymore. Okay? And this is where you're heading. You're heading to, there's going to be like, there's a lot of turmoil going on right here. Just a lot of turmoil because, again, like I said, you're in this polarity. You're like aligning and then disaligning and then aligning and then heightening your alignment, and it's okay. This is like the perfect season to do this. This is where winter is all about, hibernation and looking within. And for you, the fact that this is happening right now is beautiful. And you might not see this right now because you have the devil's advocate over here that is in your head and being projected in your reality, and you think you're getting you think life is happening to you because you've given up your power. You see, this is how it works. You give your power, you let other things control you, you react instead of responding, and then you believe that life is happening to you instead of for you. You can see it like that, or you can see it as, wow, an opportunity. Whoa, this has triggered me. I don't like this. I could react, or I could take a moment, really self-reflect. Ask myself, what is really going on within me? What is it that's really triggering me? Do I need to set a boundary here? Like, and that goes to like, if you're being harassed or if you're being physically hurt or threatened in some way, that doesn't mean that you can't put your foot down. Because you loving yourself will never allow any of this kind of harm happen to you, right? This is when you've evolved. Like, being spiritual and being like grounded and present doesn't mean you let people hurt you or hit you or talk down to you. It doesn't mean anything like that, but it is a self-reflection to be like, whoa, this is happening right now to me. Where in my life am I talking down to myself or hurting myself or fearing? Where is this coming from? And again, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be defending yourself, okay? I really want to make that clear. I'm just talking about, I'm talking about everything here. But I'm definitely talking about this little devil's advocate, which is trying to make you believe that you're the victim. You're the victim. Everybody else is the problem. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need to really look within. You don't need to do any of that. No, life is not happening to you. Life is happening for you, and it's for you to read and understand the symbols and the signs and to really be like, whoa, how am I contributing to this? And you might not be contributing completely to every situation, but there might be a vibration within you that's vibrating enough that is attracting this. And it's just a question of dissecting it, right? Usually it's harder to dissect it at the moment, but if you're able to catch yourself at the moment and at that time, the best thing for you to do to keep your sovereignty, to keep your power, is to not say anything at all. That is already a win. Because people and our egos and the images being reflected back to us is plain and simple just looking for a reaction. If you look at people who are hurt and who are bullies, and the majority of the time, they're hurting inside and they're just looking for a reaction because it gives them this sense of like, okay, he reacted, I'm in the right, so I could do something about it and I could just push more. You see where I'm getting? Anyways, all this to say that you still have work to do. There is a polarity that you need to figure out. You are your worst enemy. Your devil's advocate is very present because you're about to break a cycle. Like for me, I see this as like the break, right? You can continue working on your craft and get to this alignment, or you can have the devil just speak in your ear, your little ego, whatever you want to call it, just speak in your ear and completely destroy all the work that you've done. Well, not necessarily. It always comes back. It's like muscle memory, right? But why? You know, this is, I feel like it's like the tipping point, the breaking point. This is here right now in this next 2 weeks. Because you have judgment. Judgment is all about it's the card right before the end of a cycle. The card that just speaks about that aha moment, that like enlightening, that sense of like, wow, I got it. Wow, I have control. Wow, I'm taking my power back from these situations, this thing, this person. Yeah. And this is gonna go perfectly with cleaning it up, with basically your archetype, the overall energy. It's about cleaning up the clutter, cleaning up the mental space. Do your meditations, do your practices, keep practicing. You Put that music that gets you like up and going in the morning. Dance, even if it's just jumping jacks. Move your body in the morning before your coffee if you could. Drink some water before your coffee. Get something in your stomach. A lot of times we drink coffee on an empty stomach, not realizing how fast this caffeine really gets to the nervous system. If you just take a moment and just eat something as you're drinking your coffee, it's going to make the complete shift. Is that consciousness, right? Being conscious, being present, being completely present in everything you do, especially when you have the little words and the little voices in your head, in your consciousness, in your surroundings that are trying to make you feel or trying to tell you otherwise. Okay? If you believe that money does grow on trees and that the universe is your supplier, then own that vibration, own that energy, own it, really own it. And you don't have to talk to anybody about it. This is your personal journey. Nobody needs to know anything of what you're doing. Just keep doing it. Eventually it's gonna overflow and people are going to ask you how did you get there, instead of telling you no, you can't get there. You understand what I mean? Stop listening to people. Stop telling people your dreams and your goals. This is for a particular group of you. Stop telling people your dreams and your goals until you've actually mastered it and achieved it. I don't know why I got this extra card. So where is this all going? Two of Swords, Ace of Swords, Divine Wisdom reverse, and the Ten of Cups. Oh my god. Okay, guys, come on. This is a beautiful reading, especially for the Scorpio season, especially for this new moon. Wow. You have whatever you're going through, you have the Ten of Cups here upright. It is the ultimate goals achieved, dreams come true. Like if you asked that you wanted it all, the happy home, the happy life, the happy wife, the happy husband, the friends, the job, or the unconditional money that comes in, if you were asking for the whole thing, the Ten of Cups is like the ultimate yes card. And it's upright. You see how happy these people are? You have cups on this rainbow, cosmic rainbow practically. This is the destination, but the important part is not the destination, it's the journey. Okay? You have the Two of Swords. Me, right away, when I see this, I see someone who needs to open up their heart. And I feel like some of you have been hearing this and keep hearing this, because I feel like there's always a group, and every other group that I continuously need to say, you need to open up your heart. The last thing you want to do right now is close your heart off. The last thing you want to do is become more material, think more in a 3D way. What do I mean by that is that as soon as we incorporate fear in our reality, as soon as we incorporate fear, we tend to close off our heart. Our heart has one of the biggest has one of the biggest magnetic fields. It's even bigger than the brains. They don't even have the technology yet to measure how big the heart's magnetic field is. Okay, just to give you an idea. But as soon as you incorporate fear, your heart tends to close. The magnetic field tends to just close off. Just a little reminder, the magnetic field that is open and expansive is what attracts everything that you desire. So if you're wanting to attract money and whatnot, but you have fears about money, it's gonna close off. And that means that your magnetic field is so small that it doesn't have enough momentum to actually attract the things that you want. You understand where I'm going? They come. We're kind of wrapping it up over here. I like where we're going with this. So you need to keep your heart open. And how to do that is love, is to trust, is to believe, is to have faith. This is your moment. This is your moment to have a radical faith, unshakable faith. Faith is when nothing is happening. Your monkey brain is going all you're haywire, but you still have so much faith that the universe that is supporting you, that the universe loves you, the universe is going to provide everything that you need. And this love is going to keep your heart open. It's going to expand that magnetic field, and it's going to bring in everything that you've been working so hard on at the moment. Yeah, and this will ultimately bring you to a new perspective. I love how we're really like slicing in the middle over here. You see how I was saying you had this different polarity? This perspective, the Ace of Swords is really like a new beginning. A new beginning, to me, it's like a new beginning of a mental perspective. And it's, for me, I see an alignment. It's really for you to come back to alignment. You don't have to, if you can incorporate heightening and visualizing and projecting an emotion so grand, go for it. But really right now is for you to stay aligned. And for you to stay aligned, it's going to help you remain present. You're going to be so present that the alignment will be inevitable. I think right now for you is just staying present. Stay present. Feel when your heart is opening and closing. What does that entail? Like, does your stomach crunch? Does, when you're feeling fearful, does your head start hurting? Does your hands start clamming? Does your stomach start churning? Now is really time to be present and really see like, the physiological. What are your tendencies? Me, when I'm angry, I have a tendency of not being able to look the person in the eye. When I'm angry, or like, I wouldn't say jealous, I would say really more angry or annoyed, I have a hard time facing and looking that person in the eye. But I've come to really be aware of that. So when I'm not looking at the person in the eye, I know that I'm angry. I know I have to release. I know that there's something I need to pay attention to. And I take that moment and I kind of go into my own little world, own little zone, or whether I journal or whether I meditate, I do what I can to come back into that alignment. One little tip or trick, if you guys have been thinking about doing this and hesitating, I went to the spa on Wednesday and it was the best decision of my life. I was doubting. My monkey brain was like, what is it gonna do? You kind of was on a spa last week. Because anyways, I'm not gonna get into that, but it was like the best decision of my life. Spa is something that I am religious about every year, especially around my birthday. I am religious about because it takes loads off in like a couple of hours. I felt like myself again. I still have my little swings here and there the last 2 days, but if this is like, I don't know, I'm saying this because I feel like some of you have been like juggling that thought. Just do it. If you can, if you have access to, if you have the money, if you have the time, do it. And go alone. I would even suggest to go alone. It's a place where most of the areas are quiet, where you can just see and hear the mental bickering that goes on, and you can just be present. And just allow them to be and allow them to go through. Thank them for, being there, whether we want it or not. It's a defense mechanism. It's survival mechanism. So you can thank them and just go on your day. So where this is all going, you need to keep your heart open. This is going to be with a new perspective, trying to incorporate more love than fear, unconditional love. I'm sensing unconditional love, unconditional. If you don't know what that means, I would really journal or look into it. What does unconditional love mean to you? How does it look like to you? How is it given to you? How would you like it to be? How do you want to receive it? Just to have a clarity around this word. Unconditional is basically the opposite of what we're seeing right now. Anything that requires a condition is something that is extremely limiting, regardless of the excuses that we tell ourselves or we tell people. Yeah, I'm really sensing that like the unconditional part is really what's going to bring this divine wisdom back to alignment. Divine wisdom is like this, almost like the Akashic records. That's the way I describe it. It's this unknowing knowing of information that you can just tap into all the time, at any moment, all the time. And it's just a question of staying aligned and presence to have this come in. But for you, I'm really sensing this unconditional love, especially for yourself. Especially for yourself. Don't expect to give it to others if you cannot even give it to yourself. Okay? I think this is your main message right here. Don't expect to give unconditional love to anybody if you cannot give it to yourself. And that means you have to have a new perspective of yourself. That means you have to have love for yourself. You have to have respect for yourself. And respect means saying no. Right? It's like what we're saying. Respect, it means saying no sometimes or all the time. Doesn't have to be forever, but it means saying and being able to say no. Feeling that you're worthy, that you're deserving. I really feel like some of you are really trying to manifest some money in here and it's just not coming, and that's because you do not feel like you deserve it. You do not feel like you worked hard enough for it. You do not believe that things come easy to you, that it needs to be hard. These are the mindsets and the programs and the limiting beliefs that you need to work on. You need to work on yourself in that sense. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a high five. Mel Robbins has just come out with a book, High Five Habits. If you can incorporate that, I mean, you give a high five to a kid, their energy just shifts and changes. I talked about this last time too. I used to work in a bar, and right away, as soon as I incorporated high fives to my clients, it was crazy how the barriers were broke. People felt better about themselves. People were more open. Give that to yourself. Give yourself a high five in the mirror tonight or tomorrow, but do it this week, please. Really, the alignment that you need to do is with yourself. Do you believe like you're worthy? Do you believe you have a breakthrough? And it's just a question of breaking through this way of thinking about yourself. You need to have unconditional love with yourself. Don't expect to give it to anybody else. I don't even want you to give it to anybody else. If you need to say no, and if you need to say people to get the hell out, if you need to say like, I don't even care how it comes out. The PC, politically correct kind of lifestyle that we're living right now, forget about it. Just enjoy your life. And you're going to make mistakes. People are not going to be happy. People might feel offended, but who cares? Who cares about them right now? Because right now you need to care about yourself. And this is where your happy home is going to reside. Everything that you see, this abundance, this rainfall. It's not a rainfall. It's I forget what it's called. But you see it here. This abundance of water coming down over a cliff. This greenery, this like big amount of earth, abundance everywhere. Like, this is where you're heading. But you need to have unconditional love for yourself. You need to believe that you deserve everything that you want. You need to start feeling worthy and desired and feel supported by the universe. Don't expect anything from anybody. Not even your current job if you have one. Not even the men or the people around you. You need to realize that the universe and your guides and whoever's around you is always there to support you. You just have to let them in. And you especially have to let yourself in. Like, I feel like the big choice here is to really choose yourself. but more importantly, let yourself in. Let yourself in your heart. See what it has to say. I feel like you've been someone who's been hurting for years and years and years and years, and you started to do a little bit of work. You probably did a bit of journaling, but you stopped. Like, let yourself in, and you can burn those pages. You don't even have to read what it says. Just write it all out. Go within your heart. Ask your heart, tell me what is weighing on there. Write it out. You can scribble. I usually just scribble everything. I don't even write anything anymore. I just scribble. And that is a way of releasing. And you can just burn it. Just burn it after. You don't have to reread it. You can bury it. You can trash it. It doesn't matter. It just comes out. You're allowing yourself to feel these things. It's okay to cry. I feel like you're going to, as soon as you start doing this, you're going to cry and you're going to cry and you're going to cry. And that is the best thing you can do for yourself. Crying is a release. It's your soul releasing. It's your body releasing excess emotions that it no longer needs. Wow, this is a lot of information. Hats off my group ones. Okay, your oracle message, which is what we're going to end today's reading with, is Burning Hero. Ooh. I'm going to read it. Definitely going to read it for you guys. I just have to find that book. Where's that book? Where's that book? This oracle brings you a message from the heat of your labor. Sweet success will arise, and you can act now as if that success has already been made manifest. It is only a matter of time before it is so. From that success, new levels of experience and creative manifestations will take place. That breakthrough that I'm talking about. You are in a powerful creative cycle of intensity and serenity, dancing with each other through your heart. Like the sweet relationship of day and night, this cycle yields great harvest. Offer yourself in contribution to the greater good, and your harvest will be not only of earthly delight, but of heavenly blessings too. Wow. From the transformative fires of life's tests, you emerge now, stronger in self-belief, overcoming self-doubt and fear, and shedding the layers that have held you back from burning as a naked flame of divine love. Can you perceive the coolness fast approaching to soothe your weary soul? Peace is coming to you now, a respite from the fire before you are ready to burn into love again. The hero that you're looking for is yourself. That's the message that I'm getting. The hero that you're looking for is yourself. Nobody's here to save you. Nobody was ever meant to save you. You were meant to save yourself. And by doing that is by giving yourself self-love, changing your perspective of yourself, changing the perspective of your situations. This little guy over here, monkey brain, the devil in disguise, which is usually our own devils in the making. And this breakthrough is just going to bring you to this beautiful, beautiful world of abundance. And this world of abundance is going to be the wisdom that you're going to gain. That's going to lead you to this abundance through the loving of yourself. Does that make sense? Let me know down below, guys. This is your message for the next 2 weeks. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you think somebody could benefit reading. Share, like, subscribe. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. Always, always a pleasure reading these cards for you. And I love to have a great day, guys. Hello, lovelies. Welcome back, you incredible souls. Welcome back to your bi-weekly tarot pick a card readings by yours truly, Katerina Licken. This is for the next 2 weeks. I recorded this on November 5th. Happy Dias del Muertos a todos, to everybody. Happy Remembrance Day. We celebrated ours yesterday. Oof, just felt a beautiful sense of gratitude and release. Yeah, and to all those They'll be still releasing for the next couple of weeks, days, weeks, months. This is a time of Scorpio season. Happy birthday to all the Scorpios out there. And yeah, like always, I will start with the archetype, so the overall energy for the next 2 weeks. What do we need to know, and where is this all going? I don't know about you guys, but it's been pretty freaking heavy. The last week and a half has been extremely intense for me. My heart goes out to all of you. Hopefully this helps and this clarifies a couple of things. And yeah, let's get right to it. Ooh. Regeneration. Oh la la. I even had the tendency of doing this. Ooh, Monsieur. This is heavy times. There is something that needs to die at the moment. Oh my god, my group ones were pretty like intense too. There's a person, a situation, an element in your life that you're refusing to let die. Regeneration is about the card of kind of like it's a rebirth, but up reverse, it really means like you are trying to cling on to something and you don't want to let something just die. There's like no other, like, that's just the best word I could use right now. You're trying to salvage something that isn't salvageable. It needs to die to kind of regenerate itself into the earth. This is where it's going to get its strength, and it's just going to grow back stronger and more powerfully and greater than it ever did. I don't know if you've ever seen plants once they go through a huge shock, whether it's weather or like sometimes if you shake their roots too much, if they survive, then they just grow 10 times larger, 10 times stronger, 10 times bigger, and their fruits are actually come quicker, right? So right now, and it's great that's happening right in this season, but it's time to let go what isn't serving you. It's gonna be hard, it's gonna be heart-wrecking, it's gonna be let me know if you guys need a little bit of Reiki these next couple of days. This is gonna be heavy. It's not easy, especially if you already had like your mind set up and you've already worked or convinced yourself otherwise that this should go in a certain way. The expectations, right? If you have expectations, it's more the expectations that are harder to kill than the actual situation or thing or person. But it's going to be in your best benefits, and you don't have to do it right away, but in the next 2 weeks, I highly recommend that you allow this to rest. You allow it to kind of rejuvenate and get transformed in its own time. That doesn't mean that you're never gonna acquire this situation, be with this person, or get the job that you wanted, or you know, not get something better. That doesn't mean any of that. That doesn't mean that you're not gonna see it or smell it or taste it or touch it, if you know what I mean. It just means that it needs time to rest and it needs time to regenerate so it could come back better. Maybe you both need time. If this is another person, maybe you both need time to just rest, regenerate, and come back even, you know, a better version of each other, so you can be better versions for each other too. Oof. Let's see what we need to know. Ooh, Ace of Swords. This was in my group once also. Interesting. A lot of cards are just coming back. Well, we have the Ten of Cups. That was in my first group too. Wow, what are the odds? So whatever is going on, it's gonna have a great happy ending. Or I'm kind of feeling like you guys already know this. You guys already know that whatever needed to die, needed to die. You're just still holding on the little bits and pieces and little fragments that are left. And it's really time to just release. It's really time for a new perspective, a new mindset, especially going out in the next few weeks. And you're already doing it because this is what we need to know. This is what we need to know, and after it's going to be where is it all going. So what we need to know is really like, okay, you're setting off, or you need to set up a new perspective, a new goals, new way of thinking about life, about yourself, about your situation, about the future, about the past, about the present, all in the remaining present, right? Like for me, this is like an alignment, always coming back to alignment, always coming back to the present moments. That's where the magic happens, right? This is where we actually are guided and just guided towards the areas or the people or the situations or the talks that we need. I'm kind of feeling like you feel like you're going backwards because you have the Wheel of Fortunes over here, reversed, and the word Wheel of Fortune usually means delays and all that. I'm getting a sense that you feel like you're going backwards, like the wheel is not really turning in your favor. That's because there's still a lot of fighting going on. The Five of Wands, Five of Rods, it's really about these kids that are just like slamming it at each other with these sticks, and this is usually mental turmoil, but also getting the sense that you feel like you've been hit with a lot of curveballs, or you've been just fighting with people. This could be other people too, external forces. But I kind of feel like you're just fighting your hopes and your dreams. You're just kind of like fighting. It's like your soul wants you to do one thing and you're just talking yourself out of it because it's not practical, or it's not this, or it's not that. I almost feel like, okay, if you're someone who's been looking for a job, you think it needs to be like this cookie cutter shape, that passive income is not something that is available to you right now. And I feel like that's kind of like what you need to change. That this is an example, like if passive income is not available, then that's what you're going to be unavailable for it. That's just a reality. That's just a fact. That doesn't mean that you can't, let's say if you don't have a job, you're looking for a job, and that doesn't mean that you can't go and looking for a job. Maybe you'll find something or somebody who will be able to offer you something, but to stay open to the possibility that the universe does have your back, that it is supporting you, and not to fight people around you. Who cares what people say? Like, screw them. It doesn't matter. Just because somebody says, oh, well, let's, for example, you're going to be a single mother. Oh, you're going to be a single mother. It's going to be hard for you. You don't have a job right now. How are you going to pay your bills? That's their reality. That's what they're available for. You don't need to be available for that. Again, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be looking for a job or that you shouldn't be, asking those questions. But just remember that we are sovereign beings and we are programmed to find solutions. And if one of your solutions is, I want to have passive income, I want to have free time for my kids or for myself or for the people I love around me, or just for myself, I just want to leave the country, know that I'm being supported, know that I have money in the bank, know that I have nothing to worry about. If that's what you want to make yourself available for, allow yourself to be available for that. I feel like that's what it is. What do you want to be available for? You just want to be available for all the turmoil that's going inside and all the analyticals, and I mean, that's one way of living life, but does it make anybody happy? Not really. And this is where, I feel like a lot of the wheels are going backwards, because you have this very analytical view of the world and how it should be, because that's the way you've been brought up and that's the way you've done it your whole life, instead of just being open to the possibility of, having a miracle, or having a miracle come to you. Because I feel like that's where you're heading. You're heading to a place where you will have miracles come to you, that the miracles will just show up. I do believe that this world is magical. I do believe if you keep yourself unavailable for magic or unavailable for miracles, you will not receive them, because you are just not in that frequency. I do believe in practicality. I do believe that you need to do the work the internal work especially, and to go out and do something different, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your mindset, get out of your time, like the things that keep you stuck, right? During the generation, if it's not a situation or a person, it could be just this old version of you, this old analytical version where you're just like unavailable for magic, unavailable for, you know, instant manifestation. You're unavailable for that right now. That's what I'm seeing. And again, it's just like this new mindset, this new way of seeing things, this new way of speaking, this new way of thinking, right? The blades suits is all about the mental, the thoughts, the it's how we approach our perspectives into life. I want to kind of say also, like, let the dead rest for some of you. I feel like some of you have a quarrel with people who have passed, and it's like, accept and release is the message that I'm getting. Accept and release. It happened. Accept it. You don't have to be okay with it, but accept it and release it. If you're, you know, you can forgive, but you don't have to forgive for them. You can forgive for yourself. Like, and I feel like for some of you, you're mad at them, but you're really mad at yourself. I don't know who it is. I don't know what is it about. I really don't care. What I care about is how this energy and this frequency is really staying within you, and it's bothering you. And it's like, yeah, I'm feeling like an arrow that's being like turned in your gut or something. Like it's this thing that's just nagging and nagging and nagging. And it's just annoying you so much. And it's just a question of just like, I know it's easier said than done letting it go, but it's like they've passed. They've already on the other side. They can't do anything for you, and they never were supposed to do anything for you. You're supposed to do this for yourself. You're a sovereign being. It's time to take your power back. It's time to like not allow any situation or anybody to have this kind of power over you. Emotions are something that has been immensely exploited and all throughout history, all throughout humanity. And we know this. People have paid billions of dollars for marketing purposes because we know how effective it is. And for you to just allow it to happen is on you at this point. I don't care how atrocious whatever it was. That doesn't mean it makes it right. Doesn't mean that you should not be mourning and respecting those emotions that you're feeling. But it's also your job. It's not anybody else's job to apologize. It's for you to, because as soon as you start requesting an apology, they still own you in some sort of weird and funky way. If you think about it, you're depending on them for your happiness. So you do not need anybody's apology. That's you giving your power away to these people, whether they're past or not. Like I'm not too sure. It could be both, but for those that have someone who have passed, it's time to forgive and forget. Maybe not forget, but it's time to forgive, internalize the lesson, and allow you to move forward with a clean and energetic, cleansed and clean slate. Where is this all going? I went out on a tangent. That didn't happen usually. Okay, where's this all going? You have the Nine of Wands. What the hell? Okay, I feel like some of you have watched this. I think some of you watched my first group. And for those who haven't, I highly recommend. I feel like there might be a message in it for you there also, if this didn't complete it. Or if you're someone who are drawn to group 1 and 2, highly encourage it. You have the Eight of Wands reversed, you have the Page of Pentacles reversed, and you have the Strength reversed. Don't be afraid. Let's see where this is all going. So where this is all going. Okay, the first thing that came out for me was this moon over here is kind of cloudy. I feel like your light has been dimmed, or you've clouded your light in some way. This is going to take a lot of strength for you to just build it back, to clear the fog. It's extremely foggy. It could have been somebody else. It could be this person that I was talking about. It could be just a situation that needs to die. The job, the family member, the friends. They've been clouding your lights unintentionally, like not purposely. Like I said, I believe everything's a lesson. And for some reason you were allowing whatever the words or situations cloud your light. You felt like it was safe for you to do that. It was kind of like a defense mechanism. Let's not stir the pot. I'm going to dim my lights. I'm going to fog it up just so part of the light comes out, but not all of it. Because you're afraid of other people's reactions. It was almost like a mindset, like your parents kind of told you, don't stir the pot, or, oh, don't say those things to these people, blah, 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 that's not nice. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, you learn at a very young age that you should not be, speaking your mind, speaking your truth, shining your light. You didn't really feel like it was safe because of the reactions of others. And it kind of goes back to taking your sovereignty back, taking your power back. You do not owe anybody anything. You do not, if they're uncomfortable, that's on them. It's not on you, right? And if they're uncomfortable, to me, that just says, and that you let them allow you to feel uncomfortable shining your light, that just says more about you, like in terms of, okay, I'm afraid of being myself. If you're somebody who truly loves themselves and is completely grounded, and who has taken their power back, you will not allow anybody to dim your light. You will not allow it on yourself to dim your light. You understand what I mean? I mean, there's different contexts for every situation. I mean, if you're in a very forceful or dangerous situation, sometimes dimming your light will help you. But that's not what we're talking about right here, okay? Now, the Nine of Wands is all about that final countdown. And here you see it in an aligned person. So you're someone who has and is working on their alignments, and it goes back to like my swords over here. It's beautiful. And it really goes back to this perspective, like this alignment is really about your perspective, this polarity that needs to kind of align. You're someone who is working on it, and you are working at it, and this is like the final countdown. This is like the final battle, right? The Knight of Wands is really about this person. The original one is about the person. What they're saying is standing with their wands, and it's like that final battle before the end. It's almost like the war, like that war. It's like the last thing that is standing between you and the completion, the 10 of Wands, and like starting all over and going with like the pages and becoming, that royalty in the other suits. I mean, and you know what I mean. And I feel like what's holding you back right now is like this new money endeavor, this new job. You feel like it's not coming fast enough. The only thing that I can say about that is to really stay in alignment, really start working on those limiting beliefs around money, around jobs. Be very clear with what you want. Is it a job that you want that's just going to give you quick cash, or is it something long term? Is it something that's going to provide you something to learn, something that you will acquire and be able to incorporate in your daily routines, in your daily life, or even like, let's say, your own business at a point. It's going to take it's going to take and require strength. Basically, where you're all going, you're at the final chapter. There's a lot of things holding you back. but it really has to do with this dimming your light. You have to stop dimming your light. I feel like as soon as you start unfogging this beautiful light of yours, and it's going to take strength because you've been programmed in that way. You've been this was a defense mechanism for you at a very, very young age. But I feel like once you start taking and unveiling this light, you're going to attract the right people. You're going to kind of remove all the excess and all the people that no longer serve you, and you're going to attract the right people at a very fast pace. Right now, what's limiting you is this perspective, and the perspective in which you believe you could receive money. I feel like there's other venues that you haven't explored, or you're afraid to explore because you're so used to this mainstream way of like, you get a job, you work for an hourly wage, you get your paycheck, you pay your taxes, and that's how it goes, right? It's this ongoing cycle. I feel like there's something else out there that you haven't explored, and it's just to stay in alignment. It's just to unfog this light, because I feel like that's going to really help you bring in the right person, job, opportunity, project. And I feel like for some of you have been really looking for friends, like friends you can connect with. And that too, it doesn't have to be physical, right? Everything is virtual right now. You can make friends online. And it's, again, I feel like this is going to really help you to declutter the space, the fog around your light. The Eight of Wands again, yeah. I keep coming back to the Eight of Wands. I feel like it's going to go very, very fast, but this stagnation is almost necessary for you. I feel like this stagnation is almost necessary for you because there's still so much mental work that needs to be accomplished. I feel like if you would have everything that you wanted right now, you would feel overwhelmed. And that's why it's also this lag period. It's very important. It's really to help you. And I'm just gonna focus on this light of yours. You have a beautiful light, and it needs to shine. And I feel like once you let that go, this is gonna help you. This alignment, this final kind of push towards sticking with your meditation, or biking in the morning if that's something you can do, or whatever keeps you aligned. It's going to help you remove some of the gunk, and it's just a perseverance. Just keep persevering. Believe in your light, right? Believe in your light. Believe in this beautiful, believe that you can shine something incredible onto the world, and onto your loved ones, and onto your family, and the people around you, and to Mother Earth, right? And yeah, this lag period is very important. You have the capability of changing at any moment, but because you're still kind of fighting with yourself and with the world around you, you're still talking about the stuff that you don't want. You're still kind of doing the stuff that you shouldn't be doing, that you should be like, I mean, I don't want to go with the shoulds and coulds, but there's more you can do. Like this old part of you that needs to kind of subside and die. This old part of you kind of still holding on a little bit to it. And as soon as you have the perseverance to really, and I feel like some of it is because you don't want to shake the cage or rattle the cage, but I feel like as soon as you start rattling the cage, you're just gonna like have so much fun with it. And I feel like some of you have children, small children, and I feel like once you blow it out and you just be yourself, I feel like these kids are really going to shine with you. Stop being so serious with yourself. This is going to help anybody around you, whether you have kids or not, to just give them permission to not be so serious with themselves too. If you take away anything, it's don't be so serious with yourself. Let that old part of you die, in a sense. Have fun with life. And that doesn't mean to not take in responsibility, but just see responsibility in a different light. See how could you have fun with responsibility? What can you do with responsibility? How could you make this responsibility easier for you? What could you do? Can you wake up a little earlier, or can you set yourself up where you don't need to wake up as early as you want to? You understand where I'm going here? That's a lot of information. And your Oracle card message is loving all that is. How funny is that? My group ones, the page was 22, and here my card is 22. Wow. Loving all that is. This is a card that came out last 2 weeks. So I feel like some of you, this is exactly the group that you had. I think it was my group 3s. Or my group 2s. It might have been the group 2s again. What would be the odds? If anybody knows, let me know. This oracle brings you a sweet message. You are just asked to love. Everything else will take care of itself. So if you had any worries, if you had any fears, all you're meant to do is love. And I would even go deeper and say, especially love yourself, especially start unclogging this light that you've been dimming for so long. Once you start doing that, everything else is going to fall into play. I don't know if you see this woman, but she's just embracing the light. She is just loving all that is. Literally. Like, if an emotion, if love could be a color, or if love could be a light, or if it could be an object, what would that be for you? I'm very curious. Let me know in the comment section. I'll read everything. You wise awakened being, you can love all that is. You can love your tears and your sadness, for they are a testament to your open heart. You can love your numbness and fatigue, for they show that you have worked hard and are now in need of rest. You can love your energy and passion, even when you are so far ahead of the pack, you have to wait a while for everyone else to catch up. Maybe a day, maybe a decade or so, because you choose not to curb your enthusiasm for anyone. You can love your anger because underneath its fire is a desire for respect, and you can love your peacefulness because within your heart, you really don't care much for fighting anymore. If there is something that is shaming you, worrying you, challenging you, it's okay to just love it. It will make sense when it needs to. Until then, just love it, even when it hurts, for it's part of your own divine nature awakening. It may just be like a painful cramp happening because it's been curled up for too long. This oracle brings you a sweet message. You are just asked to love. Everything else will take care of itself. A state of being, allowing, receiving, becoming one with all that is. I hope this has summed up everything you needed to know at this very moment for the next 2 weeks. If you've enjoyed this, let me know down in the comment section, or like, or share, or subscribe, or put that little bell notification, whatever you feel like doing at this moment, do. But if you're going to do it with love, do it with respect, do it with appreciation. And that's it. That was a lot. Whoa. Ciao, guys. See you in 2 weeks. Hello, my group 3s. Welcome back to your bi-weekly tarot pick a card forecast for the next 2 weeks. This was recorded on November 5th. These are good for the next 2 weeks. The way I operate, I pick an overall energy card, so the archetype of the next 2 weeks. I see what we need to know and where's it all going, and then you have a message from the oracle cards. This is not limited to just today. If you're watching this at another time frame, it's probably because you have something or a message in it that you need to hear. And again, these are general messages. Go with what resonates with you the most, what feels like it belongs to you, basically. You have an incredible internal guiding system that should be above anything. Happy Dia de los Muertos a todos. To everybody, happy the Day of the Dead. I hope you guys celebrated. I know we did. It was just a beautiful Remembrance Day for us, for all those that will be remembering them in times to come. Felicidades. Enjoy. So let's start right away. I did these ones slightly different. I used the Oracle cards. A New Life. Ooh la la. And this one's reversed. I almost forgot what this was all about. I did forget. I read the guidebook just to remind myself. And this card is all about being gentle with yourself. It's all about new beginnings. It's all about presence. So right now you're feeling like a novice, and it's just a question of, humbling down a little bit and to just acknowledge you don't know everything, and you don't need to know everything right now. This is a learning curve. This is a learning period for you. It's to help you and propel you. And like you see over here, she's coming out of this egg, and the wings even hasn't even fully expanded yet. And it's really about, allowing that time, that learning period, kind of like the Three of Pentacles, where you're working on your craft but you're still new. You're kind of in that vibe and that framework, whether it's a project, a job, or you're just, have a new perspective on life. And it's just to be kind with yourself and to not be so hard and to stay present. Now it's about the journey, not about the destination. You don't need to know everything right now. It's to have fun with the moment and to have fun with this, because you're never gonna have this again. That feeling of like the jitters and the stomach butterflies, where you're like starting a new project, but then when you've done the same thing 3, 4, 5 times, you don't have that kind of rush anymore. Enjoy that rush. It doesn't always, it won't last forever, and it's just a question of enjoying it while you still have it, right? No judgments. I would really emphasize no judgments. The next 2 weeks, your overall energies is really that. No judgments. Don't judge yourself right now. You're new in all this, whatever that may be. I feel like for some of you are new in this whole like manifesting game, or you just started to have a momentum and you're like still testing the waters and you're still crashing and burning, and that's okay. This is a never ending learning phase that we have. And yeah, just to be kind, remain present, enjoy the journey. Really, it's about enjoying the journey, this card. Let's see what we need to know. You have the Five of Pentacles, you have the Empress card, you have the Ten of Swords, and you have 8 of Pentacles reversed. These two are reversed. You have a little snake in your entourage. Snake could be like a transformation, but it could also mean kind of like Adam and Eve, that snake that kind of persuaded and is trying to get Eve and Adam to do something they don't necessarily want to do. So there's something going on, a situation, or there's something that's trying to persuade you. Be very wary about that. I'm not going to tell you to do it or not to do it, but just be wary that it's a snake and it's not in it for your best interest. It's probably in it for their own best interest. Especially now with everything that's going on, I feel like there's been so much misinformation and so much anger and rage and hatred that it's so easy just to succumb to other people's will just because you don't want to hear it anymore. I feel like that's what's being represented with the Ten of Swords. At the moment right now, you just feel a little overwhelmed. You feel like there's just too much going on. But a lot of it is your own making, right? The original card is about a woman or man. I don't remember if it's a woman or man, it doesn't really matter. A person has 10 swords, and the person is lying down on their backs, and it's just extremely, it looks just gruesome. But a big part of that is your mental state and how you're allowing other people in other situations, and these situations affect you in a particular way. I want to say that I want to like congratulate you, because I feel like you've been very vulnerable. You've allowed yourself to be extremely vulnerable, whether that's been appreciated or not. For me, I see this Empress in the spread, and I feel like it's just someone who's been opening up their heart and wanting a change, and it's probably what this new life is all about. You're just trying this new way of doing things, or this is like your natural way, but you've been repressing it, and you decided to just go all in and say, fuck it, I don't care what anybody says, I'm just gonna go all in, I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna be authentic, I'm just gonna, you know, be that ultimate goddess and that ultimate nurturer, and I'm just gonna be myself, and if anybody likes it, I don't care. I don't know why I'm getting that vibe, because we haven't even got into the other cards, and the other cards are kind of saying like the opposite, but I really feel like you are embodying this beautiful yin persona. This, we all have yin and yang, right? And we all have male and female energies. That's just a given. I don't care what kind of gender you are. I don't care what background you have. We all have these energies. Some are more prominent than others. I feel like yours was always more prominent, the yin, but you're actually embodying it now. You're actually using this force to be reckoned with, because it's just a beautiful, creative, visionary, projected, objective kind of feature. Well, I mean, objective and subjective gone wrong, but it's just a beautiful energy. It's, you know, what gives birth to babies and creations, and it's, you know, the representation of giving birth is that is something new, is it could be a new idea, a new project, but you, I really feel it's like this vulnerability side of it all. You're just feeling all the feels, whatever happens, happens. And I feel like this is where some of the turmoil is coming into play, but it's more from the outside perspective too. It's in reverse. For me, that kind of says that it's more other people not really liking this new version of you. It's like you're too open, or you're kind of making other people uncomfortable. And honestly, I would just say, like, who cares? Who cares what they think? Who cares what they believe in terms of you making them uncomfortable? You're just being yourself, you're being honest, and if people can't handle it, so what? Okay, where was I? So you're really opening up, you're becoming more vulnerable. And watch out, because you're gonna have kind of like a devil that's just gonna be tempting you. Especially because you have not established a firm ground, but also a firm appreciation of the superpower that you have. Your superpower is this nurturing side of you, this loving side of you, this understanding side of you. It's just you have to bring it into yourself. You need to start applying it to yourself first. If you're feeling some kind of imposter syndrome, I would definitely talk to people around you and really ask them, like, do you think I'll be good at this? Do you think I'll be able to manage this? What is it about me that you actually enjoy and you actually like about me? What are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? But when you say that, really, 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 really be completely honest and receiving with the answers that you get. Try to limit any kind of confrontation. More importantly, try to limit any kind of taking it personal, right? If you're asking, it's because you want to grow, you want to expand. Almost like this thigh over here is a very strong bone. It's giving the impression that, you know, you want to like tighten and thicken up, become a little stronger in your position. If you're someone who is looking for finances, ask for help, or ask somebody that you can help them with a project of some sort. Or maybe you can ask somebody to help you in the kind of jobs that you're looking for. Be very specific. Say, and that's another thing, be very specific with what you want. What do you want? Do you want flexibility? Do you want something where you're going to be appreciated? Do you want it all? Do you want like good income or a stable position or something that's going to teach you management skills, self-assessment skills? What is it that you want to learn in this job? And then speak it out to the universe, but also speak it out to the people around you. If you have a social media, post it on social media. Say, hey, I'm looking for this kind of job. Does anybody know or is looking for something? Especially people on your social media probably already know who you are and what you're capable of. So they will probably know and will be willing to actually give you the recognition and the references that you're looking for. But be very specific. Go to the person directly, right? With all this mental turmoil and everything that's been going around, self-inflicted, by the way, there is a little bit of the external world, but again, I feel like they're just reflecting upon you what's already been inside of you. All this imposter syndrome, the fears, the doubts, and all that, they're just reflecting what's already there. It's just for you to really pay attention and be like, hey, okay, I'm afraid of this. Okay, is this ultimately true, my fears? Is this ultimately true? Is it written in the skies? Has somebody taken a chalkboard and just written like, this is true? No, absolutely not. This is how you actually face certain fears. This is how you actually face and accept certain situations. You look at it dead straight first in the situation, in its eyes, and you will ultimately start rewriting that story. So if you feel, for example, an imposter syndrome, you will ask, is this ultimately true? Is this ultimately true? Am I dealing with an imposter syndrome? Is this like written in the sky? And ultimately it will be a no. And you can feel like, okay, I do feel like this, but that doesn't mean that it's true. Doesn't mean that the universe says I'm an imposter. No, absolutely not. Accepting the situation for what it is, telling yourself, no, this is not ultimately true. So what is the story? What is another side of the story that you can write about these fears? This is where the magic happens. This is where you actually start seeing the manifestation grow. This is when you actually start seeing your crops grow. This is part of being human. It is rewriting the stories that we keep telling ourselves. If you have noticed that you keep telling yourself the same story and then you ask the same people to get the same reactions, that is ultimately enforcing the same story. What is another story that you can tell? Right now, at this very moment, is there something in your head that keeps coming back around? If so, ask yourself, is this ultimately true? Probably not, because we're all biased. All of us are biased in some way. And God is not there pointing fingers and laughing and creating these dramas for us. No, absolutely not. Is this ultimately true? No, it is not ultimately true. Is there another story I could write about this? One that's more inspiring, one that's more loving, one that's more compassionate, understanding, one that will thrive, that will help me thrive instead of help me go the other way. Reduce into size, right? You can thrive or you can reduce into size. It kind of goes with the whole heart chakra, the whole heart system. If you collapse, if you run your life out of fear, your heart starts shrinking. The vibrational aspect of it actually starts shrinking. And this ultimately narrows your manifestation game. It narrows everything that you hopes and dreams and everything that you want from it. It brings that whole magnetic field lower, so it has less of a chance to go out into the world and attract the things that you're trying to manifest, that you're trying to ultimately say. And this is limited by the stories that you keep telling yourself. There's an ongoing theme in the last three groups. So I feel like this is something that everybody's going through. I know I'm going through this still today. And It's really about rewriting. For you, I really feel like it's about rewriting the stories, the lies, the tall tales that you keep telling yourself. This is what needs to change. Let's see where this is all going. The Hierophant in reverse, Page of Cups, the Fool in reverse, and you have the Six of Cups. Where this is all going, you are entering a phase now that is very unconventional, or at least in from what I understand, you should be. If you haven't yet, if you've been working on the same patterns and running around with a chicken with no head, trying to get things done, or giving and not giving to yourself first, this might feel very weird and odd to you. Giving to yourself first before giving to others is definitely not the norm of society nowadays. It's really like the opposite story that we keep getting ourselves. I also believe that whatever work that you are looking for, it's one that it's not really like the conventional kind. I almost feel like you're trying to attract, or you will, if you really put your focus onto that, maybe passive income. Maybe look into money exchanges, buying and selling money, different currencies. That's something that I'm looking into right now, and it is a great opportunity. And there's so many other opportunities like that is just unconventional and kind of unheard of, and anybody could really start it. You don't really need a background for that. You're also right underneath the Empress, you are coming into a new love, a new understanding of yourself, of your situation. The Page of Cups is always something new. It's a messenger of love also. I almost feel like you will be entering very soon this new chapter about you giving to yourself. Not letting others talk you out of your dreams, talk you out of your desires, talk you out of your empowerment. Yeah, people have been trying to talk you out of your empowerment, and you're really going against that norm. You're cutting away from society. I feel like you've been told many times how strong and entrepreneur women will not be for the greater good, for example. So that is very unconventional. It's this old way of thinking, right? It was a very patriarchal way of seeing things. In certain ways, there's a nice balance because it worked for so long, but on the same time, it didn't work for many people. So what I'm trying to go at here is that there's going to be a newfound love for one of your desires, for maybe multiple desires, and the way you're going to reach is going to be very unconventional. But as long as you're not allowing other people to put their 2 cents or to discourage you or to talk you out of it, you're going to be very empowered, and you empowering yourself will help you go to that extent, go to that limit. Another thing I want to add also is that you have the Fool card in reverse. You're going to have to take risks. Risks are not easy. Risks are not fun, especially when you have people that are just talking you out of any kind of risks taking. I mean, the conventional way is just to stay the line, is to go the safe route. But life teaches us that if you don't take risks, in some part of your life, whether it's in a relationship or it's in a job opportunity, or if it's in just self-awareness or going within, these could be very detrimental, and you might not actually live ever, right? You're heading now towards the Six of Cups. This is ultimately where you're going. What we need to know, where is this all heading? And the Six of Cups, yes. Ooh. The Six of Cups is all about nostalgia. You're going back to your roots. You're going back. Oh, wow. It's like a full circle over here. You finding your superpower, you embodying your superpower, this nurturing ability, this loving ability, this compassionate ability, this healing the world kind of energy. And remember, when you heal yourself, you heal the world. And I really want to put that focus. Don't go externally. Really go within. Heal yourself, love yourself, give that compassion to yourself, and it's going to be so much easier, and it's just going to be easier to take those risks, and it's going to be easier to walk towards this newfound love and appreciation, not only for yourself, but for the life that you're creating for yourself. And I feel like it's all coming full circle. There's something in your past, in your childhood, where you're like, oh wow, this is really what I wanted, and I'm heading towards that. This unconventional way of doing things, taking risks. You're kind of going against your nature. Well, the nature that society and probably family members or friends have told you that you should go, that route you should be taking. The safe route, right? But there was always something more you saw for yourself, and that opportunity is still there, and it will always be there. But now it's the next 2 weeks is almost like the fertile time to go within, love yourself, appreciate yourself, appreciate your situation, appreciate everybody, even appreciating these mofos that have come into your life, have talked you down, or were catalysts for you to really break free and to appreciate your gifts and your superpowers, but more importantly, to appreciate yourself and coming back to yourself. I feel there was something in childhood that you have lost, that this fear of being yourself, almost this fear of acknowledging that you are worthy, or that your voice is worthy, or that your actions are worthy, or that you're worthy of that great job and that great opportunity, and that you're worthy of money coming in, and that you're not supposed to be suffering. And that I feel like you, as a child, you were this flow child that was just enjoying life, but there was something along the way, someone or a situation that kind of got you in another direction and misstepping the path that of love and appreciation that you once had for yourself, or doubting this love and appreciation for yourself. It was probably like an accumulation of things, but I feel like one thing in particular really like triggered and kind of was a catalyst of this downward slope, and you're really finding that back in these unconventional ways. So if you're someone who was into the whole holistic, maybe you were blogging too, which is also an unconventional, now it's coming more conventional, but unconventional way of doing things, it's time to kind of fall back in love with those things and see how that helped you and how you can help others with that tools and those tools. Blog about that, right? If you're going through a breakup right now, what is helping you to stay sane? Because that is not an easy thing to do. Helping others through your own experience, I almost believe it's almost one of the goals that you're here and to provide. Like you're here to provide that kind of knowledge. You're very protected. You have a beautiful wolf over here, and you have all your guides. You have these beautiful butterflies that are protecting. You are very, very well surrounded, and the universe just wants to give to you. But if you're like this woman, just, you know, not appreciating each step you're taking, that her hair is like in her eyes, and you're not appreciating what is around you and these risks to take, even if you know that you're well protected, there's not much they could do for you. They're not gonna push you. I mean, in certain situations, sometimes they do. We usually call that the tower moment. But a lot of the times you have free will, and they're not going to interfere with your free will ever. It's not their job to interfere. I mean, what is the whole point of all this if we don't have free will, right? So your oracle message is sacred convergence. We're going to read that from the deck, from the book, I mean. This oracle holds a message for you. A deeper part of yourself is calling you forward. Any discontent, struggle, anxiety, or fear is a subconscious recognition of this. Don't worry. You are a unique plant in the divine garden. You don't have to know what plant you are in order to grow. Wow, that is beautiful. Let me say that again. You don't have to know what plant you are in order to grow. You don't have to know what plant you are in order to grow. You just need to live each day, and the growth happens naturally. Then you can see, over time, the beauty of your true nature revealing itself to you. It will be a revelation to be relished. That is beautiful. You do not need to know what plant you are to grow. And I feel like this is exactly the situation over here. Like, you have a superpower, you know what your superpowers are, or if you don't, it's time for you to embody or to look into, what are my superpowers? What am I good at? Where do I need more work? But more importantly, what am I good at? What can I use right now that could help me and sustain me and push me forward? And this is creating like this whole new timeline, a timeline where you're gonna break free. So you are becoming something. And you don't need to know what that is. Just follow your heart, follow your desires, and whatever you become, you become. It is that simple. I believe everybody should be doing this. Planning could go so far, but if you truly are present and you just follow moment by moment impulses, I feel like one will be so much happier. And two, will become exactly what we were meant to become. That's all the messages that I have for you, my group, beautiful group threes. Enjoy the next 2 weeks. Let me know if this has resonated. Write a comment, share, like, subscribe. I love doing these for you, and I love connecting and talking with you in the comment sections too. Let me know if you would like to have an extra card pulled just for you. And that's it. Enjoy. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Ciao.